everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yadi and this is Yadi Angel Art. Today we'll be starting a new series where we go over the 7 elements of art. In this video we will talk about all of the elements and we'll briefly go over their definitions to kind of get us started in the series. For the rest of the series we will go into at least 1 or 2 elements per video and learn more about them, and we'll also do some exercises that will help us improve the way we tackle each element in our art. So without further ado, let's get started. The 7 elements of art are line, shape, form, color, value, space, and texture. And before we get into the definitions, I want to briefly go over with you guys why they're important to learn about. Basically, if you're a beginner and you're not sure where to start, these basics would be a really great starting point to learn more about art and try and improve your skills. And studying these elements will also give you another way to define maybe certain things or traits that you like in someone else's art, which will down the line be a really big help for finding your own style. For me, I think it's really important to study these elements. I've already studied these in school before, but that was a long time ago, and I also feel like at the time that I was studying them, I was juggling like multiple jobs and other classes, and I didn't really have the time to put all of my energy into improving my work based on those elements. So I'm hoping to go back to the basics and really try and find the elements that I want to work on the most and kind of improve my art based on what I learn in these elements. I'm hoping that you'll enjoy this journey with me and that you can follow along as I hope to continue growing and learning. Now, the final thing I want to cover before we jump into definitions is whether I think that this is required to become a good artist. And the answer is no, definitely not. There are plenty of self-taught artists that did not specifically jump into learning these basics to become good artists. Now, I do believe that these elements still exist in every artist's artwork, at least 2 elements per artwork actually. So even if a self-taught artist never specifically studied this, I still believe that they show these elements in their work anyway, and that's one of the reasons why their work is so great. So it's not required to study these to be a good artist, but I think it's a big help for anybody who's interested in studying them, and especially if you don't know where to start. Like I said, for beginners, this is a really great starting point. So anyway, let's get into those definitions. A line is a point moving through space that allows a viewer to visualize the stroke movement, direction, and intention. And that is a really complicated sounding definition for what I assume we all know that a line is, which I will express in different ways on the screen. Some different types of lines are vertical, horizontal, diagonal, zigzag, implied, or contour. And we'll go into this a lot further in future videos, but there's many other ways that lines can be shown. The next element of art is shape, and shapes are 2-dimensional closed lines. They can be geometric, like squares or triangles, or they can be organic, which I like to think is more like blobby. The third element of art is form, which is a shape with depth, making it a 3D object. So this can be seen in art in 2 different ways. One is as actual form, which would be kind of like sculpture or architecture. Or it can be more so the illusion of form, which is how we create depth in our 2D paintings. Next is color, and there are 3 different components to color: hue, intensity, and value. Now, color can be a very complicated topic to talk about. There's a lot that can be said on color, basically. So we're just gonna briefly go over these three components, and in another video, we'll go over a lot more. So hue is what we call a color, like blue, red, or yellow. And intensity is the vividness of a color, which can also be called the saturation. Next, value would be how dark or light a color is. So a lot of that, as an example, would be like adding white to a color or adding black to a color. The next element is value, which is the lightness or darkness in color. So the lightest value is white and the darkest value is black. The difference between values is called contrast, and contrast is a very helpful aspect of coloring your artwork. One of the best ways to practice value is painting in black and white. The next element we'll talk about is space. Now, space is where the art is organized, and it can also be considered any area that we as the artist create with a purpose. Space can be broken down into two different parts, and that would be positive or negative space. Positive space is an area with a subject, and negative space is an area without. Space is manipulated by how we use lines, shape, form, and color. Now, the final element is texture, which is how an object looks or feels. Like form, it can be actual, like in sculptures, or it can be implied, like in paintings. Now, those were the 7 elements of art. I am very excited to get further into this series and break down each element in detail together. If you're interested in following me on this journey, you're totally welcome to subscribe. And here is my final piece. I mostly did a visual kind of journal with you guys based on the definitions, and I did take this piece and clean it up digitally, and I've put it into the description box below as a PDF that you can save for yourself. That's everything for today. If you have any questions for me, or if there's any other way I can help, don't hesitate to share it with me in the comments down below. And if you had fun with me today, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next Saturday with the next one. Bye!